So it was our good old buddy Sean Ross Sapp who had broke the news this week that apparently an internal memo had gone around in AEW with a whole big list of banned moves and spots, and then a whole nother separate list of moves and spots and scenarios and gimmicks and things that would need to be cleared with the office before it was done in the ring. Essentially, guys are not able to just go out there and do whatever the fuck they want anymore. No, this is starting to stir up a lot of talk and gossip online. A lot of people are overreacting about this. A lot of people are getting carried away. A lot of misinformation is being spread around. So to get the details straight from the horse's mouth and not spread any misinformation myself, let's go ahead and take a look at the clip from Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful Select, Fightful's YouTube channel. He did this here video to clarify exactly what is on the list, and then I will catch you on the backside to give my thoughts and breakdown, and we'll kind of talk about this, the good, the bad, because there is a little bit of both, and we'll dive into it. Check out this clip.
Now, I'm going to read you directly from the document that I saw. It says AEW health and safety protocols relating to matches. The health and safety of our talent, staff, crew, and fans are paramount importance to AEW. Our medical team, coaches, and referees have developed the following protocols to ensure that our matches are performed as safely as possible. We know there's some risk in professional wrestling performances, but our objective is to ensure that we minimize the risk without compromising the quality of performances and our talent's ability to be creative. More simply put, AEW seeks to perform all stunts and spots as safely as possible. To that end, please review the following protocols. If you have any questions, please ask any member of our coaching staff, medical staff, or legal team. Please respect your coaches, referees, and team medical, all of whom are working to try to keep you safe and healthy. It then says the following moves are not allowed under any circumstances. These are prohibited for your safety, safety of the staff and crew, safety of our fans, and compliance with laws and venue requirements. And it says this is not a comprehensive list and can be modified as appropriate by medical, legal, and the coaching staff. And it says advanced planning really helps. We would love to be able to say yes to creative stunts and spots, but generally need time to find ways to plan them. Get any required safety equipment. For example, if we want to break glass, we would need time to get the appropriate glass and get any required permits. If you have an idea, please talk to a coach, talent relations, team medical, or team legal as early as possible. So let's break this down. Got a lot of questions in here. If you want them answered, we've got super.
All right, so that was the down and dirty from Sean Ross Sapp on this, and like I said, it's getting a lot of controversy about this. So let's go in and break it down. Let's take a look at a list over here. Pulling this list from whatculture.com, so shout outs to them for supplying the content. Looks like they're saying here, so let's start with the banned moves. Unprotected chair shots to the back of the head, or to the head in general. Any shot to the back of the head, so elbows and stuff. I'm sure like the finishers, like Adam Cole's gimmick, or the fucking Judas effect, if that catches the back. Stuff like that. I think are going to be just fine. I think it's more of strikes and that sort of thing. Or at least maybe they'll get blanket clearance because they are finishers. But chair shots, can we all agree that chair shots have... Chair shots to the head, especially unprotected. Does it specifically say unprotected chair shots to the head? So you can even put your hands up. We should all be in agreement for this. If not, you're stupid, because just so something looks cool for you, just so you can go, oh, that was sweet, is not worth somebody having brain damage for the rest of their life. As cool as it is, and as appreciative as I am with all the ECW stuff in the past, the Balls Mahoney chair shots, all these tough bastards that did it for the team, that took one for the team, As far as even Cody Rhodes at the beginning of AEW when he took that errant gimmicked chair from Sean Spears. They gimmicked the chair so that it would give and then just look bad, and fucking Spearsy hit him with like the frame of it instead of like the giveaway part. Busted him fucking nasty one wide open. So look, man, that's why, and this is causing long-term brain damage. So there's absolutely no reason that we need to sit and have any kind of tolerance for fucking unprotected chair shots to the head. Get your hands up. That's fine. It's a work anyway. That's part of what it is. It's not how tough are we? Can we take the bumps for real? It's how can we make this look like an exciting back and forth fucking main event brawlski without actually hurting each other, for real, long term. So I'm on board with that. And I'm on board with the just no shots to the back of the head. There's nothing wrong with that. Buckle bombs. Look, Stinger fucking... We've seen buckle bomb instances. Remember Finn Balor also took the buckle bomb to the rail when he won the Universal title for the first time ever. He was the first ever Universal champion. If anybody remembers that, but he had to vacate it. He lost it right away because he fucking buckle bombed into the thing. Sting with the whiplash. Look, it causes a whiplash effect. I'm not a wrestler, but I mean, I've been in a ring and those shits are dangerous. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing to take those kind of spots. Like I used to be like a general manager, a commissioner, right? So I got my ass beat. I took lots of bumps, I got put through a table, all that shit. But those are like spots, it's one fall. They teach you real quick, guys will be like, here's what you do. You'll do this and bada bing, bada boom. But when you're having full back and forth matches like that, where you got to constantly be aware and you're tired and exhausted, and now you're getting thrown backwards. And even you see those fucking, the one that, what's the move that, Sami does. Sami Zayn does it all the damn time. It's the like the exploder suplex into the corner or whatever, where they're basically just dropped on their head and they're so close to the back of the buckle. There's no reason to do that. I don't know if that's the exploder or what that's called, but you know what I'm talking about. There's no reason for that kind of shit. We don't need it for our entertainment. I'm sorry. I'm not sad about any of these so far. And if you are, you just think, oh, they should just be able to do whatever they want. Look, I get that to an extent too. Trust the wrestlers, right? Trust the professionals. Wrestlers know what they're doing or think they know what they're doing most of the time, should know what they're doing, but maybe not always. And when you're as big of a company as AEW and there's lawsuits to be had and you're trying to secure TV rights and you want to keep a good professional family-friendly image and blah, 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 you just don't need people ending their careers in the ring and getting injured and all that nasty shit that can happen. Let's just not even go there if we can help it. I'm fine with that. Fencing responses, which are unnatural positions of arms following a concussion. So when you look all rigor mortis out or you do that, or your seizuring was another band there that's there. Seizure cells, spitting, bleeding in the crowd. Let's go back to the selling of the seizures and stuff. I think that's the Daniel Bryan rule, as I think Brian Alvarez pointed out. He was going through and they were naming, they're calling it by everybody that's fucking it up, right? All these people that are breaking these rules, that are causing these rules to be handed down. Look, man, I don't know. That's a fine line because you're trying to tell stories too, and it's a combat sport, and I don't know that we can just be having all these brutal matches, but everybody's fine and perfectly healthy the next day. And, Danielson, look, he had a seizure at one point. That's kind of public knowledge from his concussions. The idea here is that it offends people. People are too sensitive to it nowadays is really what it boils down to. They're like, oh, that could happen for real. That's not funny. Come on. We are simulating combat sports here. So if it could happen for real, then it should be fair game in the storyline. Is it tasteful? I'm not arguing that it's tasteful. You can be offended by it, but to outright ban it, I'm a little iffy on that one. That one, at the very least, should maybe be one that needs approval. I think Sean Ross Sapp had said that in his breakdown as well. That's fair. Maybe get approval for that. Don't be doing that shit all the time, but I don't know that should be outright banned. Spitting or bleeding into the crowd. My God, yeah, that's gross. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. I always cringe when guys are bleeding out in the crowd and they fling their hair, and you'll see blood splatter on people in the crowd. You'll even see people react to it. They're like, thankfully, most of us wrestling fans are fucking freaks and weirdos, and we're probably all like, you know what I mean? We're trying to save it in a little fucking glass thing like Dexter does, right? Sell it on the internet and trying to make fucking little hybrid John Moxley babies or something. Okay, I've taken this way too far. Taking this too far. Let's take it a step back. Spitting and bleeding in the crowd is gross. I'm fine with it. Spitting probably shouldn't even happen around the ring because that's gross. Yeah, I think it says that. Spitting is, and then comma, bleeding in the crowd, not spitting and bleeding. So yeah, spitting just outright. Nobody wants to go out there and fall and take a bump in your spit loogie, man. And even if the wrestlers are okay with it, heat of battle, right? Wrestlers will it's fine, I guess, whatever, if they're willing to bump and roll around in it. But what about the referee? Poor Aubrey Edwards has to get down on there and what if she has to fucking slide down to get that count and her plant hand fucking goes right in your loogie? That's disgusting. It's disgusting, guys. Knock it off. And it's gross to even watch on TV when people do that shit. There's people spit all over the ring if you watch that. It happens quite a bit. Not so much anymore, but go back and watch old tapes. You'll see lots of spitting in matches and stuff. They just, on the mat while they're working. Not even part of selling or anything. Anyway, moving on. Weapons or projectiles in the crowd. Yeah. Why be flinging a weapon around in the crowd where it could plausibly hit somebody else? We can try to trust our professionals and know that they're pros and look, these guys know what they're doing. They're not going to hurt anybody, but accidents happen. Look, Terry Funk's one of the most professional men of all time. But when Terry Funk had that fucking thing where that match in ECW where the flame came off the flaming 2x4 or whatever and ended up on somebody in the crowd. Yeah, man. Not good. Accidents happen. It's not that you don't trust your professionals. It's that accidents happen. And these are designed to mitigate legal risks, clearly. This is probably handed straight down from legal. Tony Khan probably, Mega's number 2 over in AEW, and she's illegal, And she's probably seeing some of this stuff and Tony, we're going to get sued someday. Or maybe they got a lawsuit, or maybe they've got enough lawsuits where they're okay, we got to, something either happened or somebody smartened up to the fact that something absolutely could happen if this kind of shit goes on. So legal probably came up with a list of things that could plausibly get them in trouble. There's word that maybe even Warner Brothers Discovery has an influence on this. They could be partnering up, buddying with AEW a little bit closer here. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit later in more detail. But it sounds like, they're having more of a vested interest in AEW, and this could be stuff that their legal team has passed on. So who knows what heads have been put together to come up with this list, but clearly there's a reason for it, right? No projectiles in the crowd, safety for them. Taking drinks and food from guests in the crowd, the MJF rule, the tequila shit. Let's not do that. It's gross. I think somebody else said that they tried to drink somebody's beer and it was chew spit once. And let's just not. There's no reason to do that. It's fun to do. Didn't Hangman do that early on? Not chew spit, but he was drinking people's beers, and a lot of people do that. Used to do that. Why? It's not necessary, and it protects you. It's not so much oh, that's stupid. Why? It's why do we need to do it? And if it's a layer of protection from lawsuits or whatever else, bloodborne pathogens, poisonings, let's pay attention to it. Let's do it. Let's see. Physical contact with the crowd, same thing. Let's not touch the crowd. No touching of the crowd, no crowd touching of us. Certainly, you'll see like when Moxley's walking through the crowd, guys will reach out and pat his back and reach down and give him a handy real quick. Do that off screen because we're on YouTube, but you know, right? Give him a little pre-match workout gimmick, if you know what I'm saying. But there's the guys that will like go out and they'll like steal a crowd member's hat. The MJF, he fucks with the fans all the time. Well, stop that. You're gonna get sued if they haven't already. Clearly MJF was pushing the limits there on that. Nothing with blood on it should be thrown into the crowd is the other banned thing. So you can't after the match you see people undoing their wrist tape and kind of throwing that away or whatever. Well, we're just trying to, it's the health and safety of the people. But let's dive a little bit deeper here because we got more to get into. And this is where more of the nuance and more of the concern and misinformation is coming in. So let's take a look at this list here. And this is going to be for the spots and bumps and stuff that need permission. They're not banned. They need permission. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Just to put a bow on the stuff that was banned. I'm okay with all of it, with the exception of like the selling. I think that could be approved. But other than that, all of that is fair to me. It's fair. It's fair. It doesn't infringe on any of my creative freedoms or liberties. It's a fair ask, in my opinion. If you disagree, at me, bro, in the comments. Let's move on. Spots and bumps on the ring apron and outside the table. Tables, ladders, chair spots in and out of the ring, only allowed with padding. Let's pause there for a second. Scoozy. Spots and bumps on the ring apron, outside the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Have you ever been on a ring? It is the hardest spot. It's not a gimmick. It's because it's a frame. That's the fucking outside frame, and the posts hold it secure, and then there's fucking like wiring and stuff that kind of like the cabling that kind of holds it tight together too. So that holds that frame really tight, tough together. It's all kind of locked in. They slide into everything. It pieces together really well. So it locks in like a solid ass frame. So that base, there's zero give in that. The give is in the middle. Everything outside of the ropes where they're standing around like holding out for the tag and that kind of shit. You're taking bumps out there, bro. You're fucking, whew. You're taking risks. It's just that you're working on steel. On top of that, I will have you know, is that the padding that covers the ring, it's like everybody's seen this kind of padding. It's the same kind of padding that's outside the ring on the floor. It's the stuff like at your high school gym, that the girls that do the gymnastics do their somersault twists, flippy dippies on, and the wrestlers wrestle around. It's the same kind of shit, right? Those kind of pads to some extent. And it's those, 1 inch or so thick foam pads, right? With the hard like covering. So it's, like a sweat proof or whatever. You get the point. So it's those, and then underneath that, it's the hardwood boards, and then steel frame, like whatever crisscross might be underneath there's like plankings that the boards, you kind of go, so like the steel frame, and then you're going to lay metal planks, say this way, and then the boards will go, here I'm off camera. Then the boards will go the opposite way, so you kind of crisscross them for the support. There's very little give is what I'm fucking saying to a ring to begin with, and those pads is where the give is. Those don't necessarily always stretch all the way over to the very edge of the ring. They're kind of designed to just be enough to fit inside the ring, don't you know? So especially if you're working on a really indie-rific ring, I would imagine a WWE and AEW ring have, significantly high quality. But you get the point. It is a hard part. So I guess I get getting permission was kind of stupid. Look, we talked earlier about allowing wrestlers to kind of trust themselves. They're the professionals. They know what they're doing. Sometimes they don't, and accidents happen. But for the fuck of for all fucks is what I'm trying to say. I'm not a wrestler. So if I'm a wrestler, if I'm one of these suits that's never been in the ring, and they have their producers and agents and stuff to in on this supposedly, to have their input. And they certainly have taken all these bumps. So they're a good opinion to get. But at some point, you got to allow the wrestlers to be creative, too, and do what they want to do. And this could, Sean Ross Sapp was very clear to say in his thing, and this is where it's causing a lot of drama and miscommunication and beef on the internet, is that Sean Ross Sapp says the vibe is very much, look, man, just run it by the agent. And just say, hey, this is what we're going to do in the match. And the agent will go, okay, yeah, sure. And then I think the agent's got to run it by Tony, and Tony's got to run it by legal, and then that's it. So it's got to cover all three of those. It's got to be run up the pole, which is, I guess, what does legal care about if you're taking a fucking power bomb out on the fucking ring apron? That's stupid, but whatever the fuck. I still think it's stupid, but Sean Ross Sapp makes it sound like these are 9 times out of 10 going to get approved. They just want to know that they're going to happen so they can take the proper precautions. Let Doc Samson know to be right there, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe, there's 4 other people that are going to take a ring apron powerbomb bump, and they don't want to overdo it on the show. You get the point, but I still think it's stupid. Only allowed with padding, tables, ladders, chair spots in and out of the ring. No, that's not going to be a crash pad, even though, the Jericho 6,000 crash pad that was for the blood and guts match, so they took the bump on. I don't believe that's not what they're talking about. That's not what this is going to turn into. This padding is going to be the padding on the ring and the padding around the ring. You're not going to be able to take these bumps out in the fucking off the fucking catch-up table out in the concession stands. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to leap off the balcony out onto the cement floor. They're putting the kibosh to that. And they're not even putting the kibosh to that. Just got to get it approved. Seems to be the case. Well, it does say only allowed with padding, so that's what that is. It's not. They're not gonna have crash pads and shit. They're not. Don't worry. Don't cry about it. Okay. They're gonna just fall in the ring, which is kind of padded, sorta, as we talked about. And the outside of the ring is the same. It's that 1 inch fucking. And that padding's stiff too. It's not like it's a pillow. It's not memory foam. It's a fucking. It's doesn't got a lot of give to it itself. It's there to be stood on and wrestled on and jumped on, and it's for sporting stuff. Elevated spots outside of the barricades, dives, ladder spots, stage around the arena. We kind of already touched on that. Then those just need to get approved. So if you're gonna set up a spot like that, and look, we see it all the time. Where in Jungle Boy and somebody not too long ago, there was a dinosaur spot where the dinosaur choke slammed somebody, or maybe the dinosaur got bumped off or whatever, but you've seen it a million times anyway. They go through the table off the stage, but there's like crash pads underneath it or whatever. You get that gimmick, right? So it'll probably be stuff like that. Let's see here. The barricades, all pile driver, tombstone variations, sit downs, inverted, poison ranas, hurricane ranas, vertebreakers, high risk dives, top rope moves, etc. 450s, all of that shit. Let's break that down here for you. Pile driver's always kind of been a banned move. And AEW was kind of stood out at first, to be honest, because there were lots of pile drivers going on, because they were trying to say, hey, look, we can have pile drivers over here. WWE doesn't, But I think a lot of people were scared by that Kenny Omega spot, to be honest with you, with Will Ospreay. I think that Tiger Driver stirred up a lot of attention, and I think maybe Legal got scared by that. So I think that's where that's coming from. Maybe somebody spoke up about it. Some Karen of an agent might have said, wish you would have told us about that first. They just got to get it approved. Says Sean Ross Sapp. This is not a ban. We're never going to see pile drivers again. They just want to know when they're going to happen. And maybe have the agents, specifically go, okay, now you got to took your, because even, a couple of people are talking about Shane Helms' Vertebreaker this week and how it's incredibly safe, but also incredibly dangerous. It's one of those things, like the Tombstone pile driver has been said to be, the pile driver in general has been said to be very safe. Now, I'll tell you, like I said, I've taken bumps before and stuff. I probably would not take a pile driver bump. I'd have to kibosh that no matter who was giving it to me because accidents happen. Tombstone, I think, is a little bit more forgiving unless you ask Hulk Hogan from the Tuesday night in Texas or Survivor Series, whichever one that was he was complaining about. It was the Survivor Series because when Taker tombstoned him to win the belt. Hogan says, Taker dropped him right on the chair, brother, and damn near broke my neck. And then you watch the replay, and Taker was fucking dropped. Hogan safely tucked between his upper thighs, right under his ball sack, fucking feet away from the chair. Those good old Hulk Hogan tall tales. Gotta love them. The 450s. But in general, the pile drivers and stuff, that's fine. Ban them. And they're not even banned. They just need special approval. I'm on board with that as long as they're not going to crack down and I don't even know. They probably should limit them because they're so devastating. You see them all the time. It waters them down. They're fun because they are so dangerous. But we'll see them. They're not banned. The 450s, double moonsaults, all that shit. The triple fucking flippy planchas. Fine. Basically everything Rey Fenix has to do is going to do in the match. They're just going to say no. Or they're going to have to get approval. Vikingo. Those were some of the things, too. Or some of these wrestlers, the way they work, they're not going to build the work. And Sean Ross Sapp, again, was very clear to say that he feels these are going to kind of get blanket approval. Same with Sting's bat, Jericho's bat, right? All these things are going to kind of just get blanket approval because it's part of their shtick. That's their repertoire, if you will. But I get that. These are potentially career-ending, life-threatening, neck-breaking injuries. So let's, at the very least, make sure we know when they're going to happen and make sure the agent takes an extra second to walk them through it, even if they already know. I know. Okay, I'm just telling you because we fuck it up out there. You're going to get fucked up. Intentional bleeding of any sort, not just blading. So this is going to cover your hard ways as well. This is the Jon Moxley rule, of course. It's just got to get approved. I think it should always have been like that anyway. I don't think these guys should just be out there just bleeding all over the place whenever the fuck they want to. I think that might be a Moxley thing. I think Moxley's just doing it in every match. Just give a fuck. Just gig it up. You know what I mean? These should always be approved. Not that there's anything unsafe about bleeding. I've also done that before. I've been cut open in a match before. Not in a match, but I've been cut open before in a pro wrestling context. It's not unsafe, but it should be pre-approved. They should know where it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and that the proper precautions are being taken. Kind of a broken record here. Let's see what else they got going on. Throwing people into, through, over ring steps. Commentary table, bell table, or guardrails, barricades. Let's pause there and kind of go over that. This is going to be a longer video here. I figured as much. I figured it would be because I'm going to have a lot of opinions on this. Buckle up, Buttercup. Hope you're not bored yet because it's just more of this. Let's break it down, though, because I don't know that I agree with that either. The stairs? You're going to fucking ban the stairs? Now, needs approval. It is not a ban. See, I'm doing the same thing that I was warning you guys about. Everybody getting all worked up for nothing. Just needs approval. I don't know that stairs needs approval, though. I think that's a bit much. I think that's overkill. Same with a table, a ringside table. Okay. I'll pause on that. The steps should not need approval. Look, man, the ring, the outside, anything inside the fucking railing barricades that separate the fans from the wrestlers should be the canvas that a professional wrestler gets to paint on. Wrestling is art. This is a wrestler's creativity. There is absolutely a line where a professional company needs to have its rules and protocols and protections in its favor to ensure the safety and security and all that, legal and all that. I get all that. But then there's some stuff that is an overreach, and I'm going to call it as I see it here. So far, I've been pretty kind to all of these. I'm going to piss on the stairs. There's no reason to do that. Now, why it did pause at the table, I was going to say the ringside tables and stuff should also be fair game. It's inside the guardrails, the barricades. It's there to be used. It's a prop. This is the canvas. But let's hold tight here for a second. First of all, is there another spot in a match going on later in the show involving the commentary table to where maybe we don't want to mess that up right now? 2, I've heard Jim Ross is a particularly grouchy fucker about that sort of thing, and this might actually be the Jim Ross rule. Jim Ross does not want to be touched at ringside. Apparently, he threw a fucking hissy fit about this recently, which is it's funny. I love crotchety red-ass JR. I would keep JR around just to listen to him bitch about shit. He'd be in my inner circle, and I would just giggle every time he started bitching about something. I wouldn't listen all the time. I'm not going to like, yes, Jim, okay, we'll placate you. But I'd keep him around just to hear him. That's stupid. Throw a guy over the table. We're not even in the wrestling match. What's that got to do with in-ring competition? Sacrifice. Barbecue sauce. But I will say, thirdly, in Jim's defense, there are other people behind the bell ringers table. The ring announcer, Justin Roberts, he can take it like a man. But what about poor Dasha out there? Poor Dasha. The bell ringer guy, whoever does that, I think that's some timekeeper, and of course, the commentators. They don't need to be in the middle of something if they're not prepared for it or expecting it or know what to do in that situation. You don't want to just have somebody that's out there just slopping paint around because they're a painter on the canvas and they're just splashing it on, it's getting over the edge of the canvas and stuff. Some people are sloppy painters, so they're trying to clean that up a little bit. I'm okay with that. I think they should be pretty okay with giving the green light on that. Just make sure that they're giving Dasha a heads up or making sure that the commentators are getting the notice, that kind of thing. And Jim Ross can, get all red-assed about it. Hey, Ross, we're going to break another commentary tonight. Goddamn. Stupid. What else do we got over here? Weapons usage. Chairs, pipes, kendo sticks, hammers, ring bells, bats, chains, etc. Title belts, thumbtacks, skewers, barbed wire, and other sharp, punctury, pokey objects. Powders, aerosol sprays or liquids, throwing any weapons or objects, chairs, etc., choking, strangling with hands or weapons or hanging spots, injury spots or angles. We'll come back to that. Let's address all these weapons here first. Just approving a weapon spot is fine. I don't think they should be, and I don't think they will be. It doesn't seem like they would be. Two wrestlers prominently bring bats to the ring all the time. I don't think this is going to be an issue. Brandon Cutler's got the spray. People, the Outcasts got the spray paint. Sheeta's got the kendo stick. They're not going to take these away from people. I just think they need to be cleared. They need to know what's going to be happening with them, if anything. I'm fine with that as long as they don't limit the usage. As long as they're just controlling the usage, I'm okay with that. It's fine. It's mostly for, I would even say, just so they know, again, can be prepared for what's going to happen, I guess, in general, but also to make sure it's not happening later on in the card. Thumbtacks, skewers, barbed wire. Skewers don't belong in wrestling anyway. I'm sorry to my deathmatch aficionado friends and fans that appreciate that kind of stuff. those things that what's that dude that Jun Kasai, the guy that John Moxley was wrestling with. You ever watch that fucker have a match? He uses those gusset plates and all of that. I get that there's a niche for that, and I'm not like I'm not wrestling shaming if you're into the extreme deathmatch stuff, the ultra violence. But to me, there's no place for it. I don't think it's needed. I really don't think I will ever feel bad if I never ever see a skewer spot again in my life. It just doesn't. Barbed wire, yes. Thumbtacks, yes. I think those have worked their way into the what's the word I'm looking for? They've worked their way into the the world of professional wrestling. There's a word that's completely escaping me at this moment. You're probably yelling it at me at this point, but that's fine. It's on the tip of my tongue, but we're live, pal. And when you're on the spot, you don't think of it right in the moment. So I'm still trying to think of it. That's why I'm but no, I get it. The fuck is that word? The zeitgeist, motherfucker. The motherfucking zeitgeist of professional wrestling. It's in the zeitgeist of professional wrestling at this point. Barbed wire, tables, thumbtacks, all of that shit. It's fine. You can pull it out from under the ring in video games. It's a part of wrestling. Skewers, not so much. I haven't seen skewers in WWE fucking 2K20 anything, so maybe we'll leave those ones out. But hey, that's just me. To each his own. Other sharp puncturing objects. Forks, perhaps? You fucking weirdos, Moxley and Hangman. Look, when I bled in the ring, it was actually from a fork. So I'm okay with fork spots. Those guys are like, eek, eek. I think they were just going. I mean, it didn't look like they were working it. That's for sure. Like, cool for you guys, I guess. Whatever. Tough. You're real tough and manly. You're just getting stabbed in the head with forks for real. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Choking, strangling with hands or weapons or hanging spots. The choking. This is the Justin Roberts rule here. No choking people without permission. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't know, like a bad guy can choke behind a referee's back. You do the thing where you let the wrist tape get loose, and then where the referee, you hang the guy over the ropes, and you can kind of choke him on the ropes. Choke them with your wrist tape if it's dangling. Choke people with the tag rope. Like, look, man, like that shit's. I think that should be fair game. I don't know if that should be banned or even needing approval necessarily. But maybe choking with weapons or hanging spots, I can see that point of view, just to make sure safety protocol is in place. Injury spots or angles, we're almost done here, don't worry. Injury, you've heard all these, but I want to, you haven't heard my take on all of these. Injury spots or angles, whether or not medical is involved, called to the ring, any physicality in the crowd or crowd brawling, any physicality involving referees, managers, extras, celebrities, or special guests. So no Snoop Dogg people's elbows, I guess. No, nothing needs to be happening. So look, brawling out in the crowd should get approved, so they should have extra security over that way and make sure security knows it's coming, so they don't have to kind of like call it on the fly and be like, hey, over here, they're coming into the crowd. They can just get the little gimmick in their earpiece and be like, or be tipped off at the beginning, hey, let's have extra security in this area at this time. If it's as simple as that, I'm okay with that. Choking's really stupid. Allow choking in the ring. We covered that. Injury spots. That's a slippery slope, right? Should we be seizuring out there? Should we be like having the X symbol thrown up and stuff? Maybe not to that extent, or like, where it's really like the crowd's like, we think this guy's neck is probably broken. We're getting stretcher jobbed and stuff. But like, what about these people who are, you're working a match? What if you like go to fucking do a move off the knee or off the top rope and your knee gives on you, so you're working the knee the rest of the match, right? Yeah, you're working the knee spot, or you're fucking working a wrist injury or a fucking whatever the case may be, right? You see people work injuries all the time. It's how watch any fucking Undertaker match. They're working the knee on the Undertaker because he's a big, tall, lanky bastard, right? It's simple psychology 101. So what that's kind of vague. Where do you draw the line on that one? Extreme injury spots, sure, get it approved. If you're just working a fucking match, that's stupid. We should just look completely healthy and safe and normal and no sell everything unless we get it prior approved. Hey, can I actually sell the moves? Would that be cool? Idiots. And what if I think Sean Ross Sapp mentioned this as well. What if an injury happens and something has to be called on the fly? What if there's a real injury and they just kind of work around, or a spot gets botched and they're trying to like, anything that's called on the fly. Wrestling needs that ability to be fluid in a lot of ways. So that's my thoughts on all this. I won't keep you much later than that because we did kind of break it down. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about all this. And look, I guess we didn't address, involving the referees and celebrities and extras and stuff. Sure. At least just make sure they know what's coming. You don't want anybody to like get bumped into that was like, I didn't know that was coming. I'm going to sue you for everything. We don't need that shit. So yeah, with that said, most of this makes sense. Some of it is questionable or needs clarification. And that's kind of where I fall down on it. But what are your thoughts? How do you think or feel about this? What do you think it should be? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the motherfucking next. Yeah.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.